Dave here. How are you? Today is the 28th of March 2021. Now, just a quick word. Next week, we will have no more daylight saving where I am. So I'm going to be putting my clock backwards 1 hour. So that means the show will be coming out 1 hour later if you're not in the same time zone as me. If you're in the same time zone as me, just jump in at 11 o'clock. It'll be making way for Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's quick heads up. Now, on the show this week, there's a couple of things. One, the big thing, of course, is I'm going to give away one of my benches. And it's not going to be the second, like I was talking about last week. I'm going to send out top of the line Birch ply Stanton Bench. And it is beautiful. I've got it sitting just here behind me. I'll show it to you a little bit later on in the show. It's going to be limited to Australia only. Sorry, but I'm not sending them overseas. I'll send one here. If you want to make your own one overseas, by all means, there's links in the description, the video description down below, to be able to purchase the plans for it. Now, the plans aren't expensive. They're quite cheap, and it's very easy to follow. The plans are about 3 or 4 pages long, and also there's a link there when you get the plans for the videos on how to do all the construction. So I'm hoping everyone gets excited about that. I'll post it anywhere in Australia, and I'll pack it and everything. You're getting the lot for free. So to do that, you need to go to the video description down the bottom, and I'm hoping, oh yeah, AV is all good. I didn't check, did I? Prattling on, maybe nothing was going up. So check in the video description down the bottom. There's a link to the competition. It will be drawn via raffle copter, which is the way that I normally do it. So I just pick a winner, and away it goes. I will check that you've complied with the 2 things that I ask you to do. And that is to subscribe to this channel and also my second channel, which is the archive to all of these live shows. The reason I want the other channel to have a few more subscribers, I want to get it up to 1,000 subscribers, because then I can give it a name. At the moment, its name is, you know, XYZ apostrophe exclamation mark. You know, it's just crazy. So I want to give it a name. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I'll give it a name. We might even have a competition to pick the name for the second channel. How'd that be? That'd be pretty cool. I only need maybe another 90 or so subscribers for that second channel. And that's basically what I'm trying to do, is lift the subscribers on that other channel. But you've got to subscribe to both. If you haven't subscribed to both, when I do the draw, I'll check. Well then, I'll redraw. I'll go again. And again, it's restricted to Australia only, but that's not going to stop anyone overseas. If you want to subscribe to the other channel, please do. That'd be great. All right, on the show today, we're going to continue on with the Lutyen bench, and we're going to make the back legs. They're a little bit interesting because they're shaped like that. They've got a 6-degree angle, and you know what? I was going to do it at 6 degrees and be good and do everything that the plan said, but I've decided I'm not going to. I've made my own template up, and that's what we're going to be doing at the beginning as well, working on that template, and then we'll try and transfer it onto these pieces that I've already glued together. So I've got some skinnier pieces and made a thick piece. You know, that's what glue's for. Talking about that, I use West Systems, and it's a really good external, it's a marine grade epoxy. Now, I'm going to show you inside. It's the same glue, but this one, fast hardener, this one, slow hardener. See the difference? This one is a lot clearer. This one is more like an epoxy, more like a yellow color. So there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of. You could get away at a pinch as using this as a resin. I think I've seen a lot of people do that earlier on. I think Jimmy DeResta made an end-grained log slab and just used West Systems glue before the resins really came into being fashionable. All right. Morning, everyone down the side here. Get the thumbs up. Yeah, that's another condition. You've got to give me a thumbs up to go into the competition. 76 subscribers to go. Look, hammer it. Hammer it. Get it up to 1,000 before the end of the show. That'd be fantastic if we could. G'day Ian, Joe, Peter, Harry, John, Jeff, John, Sean, Wayne, Angela. What type of wood are you using for the bench? I'm using New Guinea teak. That's the type of timber that is. So it's very, very substantial. If you're talking about the Lutyen bench, yes, it's New Guinea teak. If you're talking about the Stanton bench, I do them out of MR, moisture resistant MDF, or architectural grade birch ply. Look, I'll show you now. These things are just beautiful. You see me use mine all the time on the show. This is the one that's going to go out. It doesn't have the blue track, but everything else there is absolutely perfect. It's sanded, it's all done on the CNC, it's extremely accurate. So if you want one, or this one, this is only part of it. There's more parts of it over there, and the legs and the grip tape, all of that stuff comes with it, and the screws. I'd love to send it out to someone and get their responses to how it works. Where can I get birch ply in Brisbane? I have no idea, Daryl. No idea at all. Maybe other people there will be able to tell you. Kiwi, yes, yes, yes. Sorry you're late. That's okay. Now, the other thing is, when I started working on this job here, so this is the template that I'm making. We're going to make the rest of this template and also start using it on the on the teak. I get caught by these comments down the side here. So this is my template, and I used the rest of that grid. You know, when I did this part of the bench here, when I made this fancy section, I set out a grid. So I used this grid as well. It's like graph paper. And then I made sure that this was going to be 38 millimeters thick, that way and that way. It's going to stand up like that. And you'll see when I cut the rest out how it's all going to work. Now, when I went to do this, I turned my bandsaw on. And the cardinal sin, I had not tensioned my blade. So I don't know if you're aware, but with bandsaws, there's a detension and tension. So it takes the pressure off the blade so it doesn't stretch it. Well, that could work as well, John. So I thought, you know what, I'm sick and tired of making that mistake because the blade comes off the bottom wheel and you madly panic and jump onto the stop button to try and stop it. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to switch the cameras over, and I think it will be this one. Yep, there we go. I'll switch this around here. Now I'm going to make something. Let me see if we can get that so we can see what's happening. There we go. Stop button. I'm going to go to the other. Forget that one in the corner. That's going to be a bit easier. So here we go. Tip that down just a touch. Here's my start button, stop button. I want something here that's going to just hang there in midair if the blade isn't tensioned. When I tension the blade, I want it to be up there. I've seen it done before by lots of people. I'm going to use some Bricky's line. This is just a nylon string, a couple of small zip ties, and a piece of just plywood or MDF. I'll show you what I mean. Bring this over here. Because I'm going to also tip that up straight so it's not at an angle. Show you another little tip as to what I do here with the Capex. All right, tip this around just a little bit more. Now I always leave the throat on the back of the Capex or the fence like this, always. So when I'm cutting small pieces, and I'm going to cut this piece, you've watched Cole, and he's got a little special thing that he holds stuff down with. Well, and he's already got a zero clearance section there. But for me, I just use this piece of pine. So I bring it to where it's got to go, right beside the zero insert. I swing the clamp around that's already on the Capex, that's a new word for it, on the Capex, and lock it. That's my fence. Now, I have to cut this one. So I'm going to put that there. And then I use this thing. This is a $10 million stick, $1 million per digit on your hand. That's what it's all about. And so I can hold that there quite easily. You ready? It's going to make a little bit of a noise. And that is extremely safe. All done. So that's that bit done. Bring the camera back around here and turn that camera off and go to the one at the front here. Oh, I got caught up in something. You know, if it wasn't for that little thing that Derek made for me, that would have disconnected itself now and we would have lost that camera for the rest of the show. All sorted. Now I want it to stand out as well, so I'm going to use some of this remove before flight. That'll work. So this is just pink paint. Now this is line marking paint. I don't know if it's going to stick to this or not. We'll find out in a second. How am I going to do this? I'm just going to do it over the edge here. Seems to be working. That's pink. I'll do the other side. Now, being line marking paint, I'm guessing it's going to dry reasonably quick. It better. I'm going to be in trouble. Do this. See how long it takes to dry. It's going to run everywhere. Of course it is. I was talking to someone yesterday. I said, you know, I really should do preparation. I should do a couple of things before I do it live. And they said, of course you would. Well, I don't. Where can you find the $10 million stick, Angela? I think Timbercon saw them. Yeah. Overspray on the floor? Possibly. It's not a biggie. All right, so I'm going to leave that to make a mess. And I'm going to put a hole in the top without going through my finger. Hold on. Done. A little bit of a tear out the back. I'm not overly concerned. All right. So there we go. I have a high vis color and I'm going to connect it over there in a minute. But first of all, oh, look at this. That's just sitting in the T-track. There's another use for the Stanton Bench. Who would have thought? Okay, cup of coffee. Oh yeah, it's only a dust. There's not much there. All right, going over to here. I think about there will be good. Let's see if this is going to work. Back to this camera. All right, here we go. So up here, this is detensioned. When I pull the lever down, it's tensioned the blade. So I'm going to leave it down for the moment and get a bit of, is that all right? Yep, that's cool. Come around in front. High vis string and get the old Boy Scouts going, do a clove hitch. Actually, here's a quick way. If you want to know how to do a clove hitch, it's very, 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 very easy. Truck drivers will call it a trucky's hitch. So, string or rope, one loop, hold the loop, another loop, and make sure it goes over. So you've got two loops like that, put one behind the other, and then that's in the center. Over the top of that, and then pull tight. That's got it. And this is a half hitch behind it. I used to know all these knots when I went abseiling as a kid. Can't do it anymore. Now, to hold it steady, zip ties. so it doesn't slide down as well. I think one will do it. Well, pulled too tight on that one. Luckily I had a spare. I'm going to keep that piece of string inside it as well. That might work to my advantage. Done. All right. Now I'm going to put it over the top. Now you might notice on the top of my saw, just here, there's a lifting hook, or it's an eyelet. So I'm going to feed this string through there so it doesn't go anywhere else. So I'll come around the other side with the camera. And we can all be engrossed as to how this is going to work. A knife or a chisel to cut that string. The paint's nearly dry. Up over the top, and whilst it's up like that, I think it's still up, isn't it? No, it's down, it's tensioned. So we will, that'll be good. So while it's tensioned, I want that to be around here, that pink thing. So I'm going to cut the string there with a sharp chisel. That's one of Arthur's, it's his paring chisel. And then slide this through the eye hook up here, and then detension the blade. And that should work. Hoping. I should have done a larger hole to get this string through. Maybe use the other hand, David. Got it. All right. Just a little bit of a knot there. A bit more. Ideally, I should have had it a little bit longer on the string, but this is going to work. Done. There we go. So I can have that sitting there like that, and it's right beside all my switches. Now when I tension the blade, it's out of the way. I love it. How cool is that? And you know, one good thing, I've still got the window open here that lets me know the tension that I should have on that blade. Now this is a 3/8 blade, the standard blade that came with this saw, and I've got it set at the right spot in there as well. I'll show you in there. Can you see that? There's all these indicators, and it tells you in the instruction book where it should be on the tightness. So that's pretty cool. Next, back to the other camera. Let me have a look here. Under the side of the standard motorbike, loop and handlebar can be removed before I ride off. Excellent. So Ebony's hit the scene. Hi Wayne, stop raining. Go to the bakery, Campbell to the right. You guys are talking to my daughter. All right, that's great. You take the show, Eb, I don't care. Next we're going to do some bandsaw work. And now that the blade is tensioned, and I think I'll put that down around about there, like so. Go back to the other one. Okay, Justin, how are you? Thanks for saying you like the channel. That's great. Don't forget, if you want one of my Stanton benches, and I'm going to show you how nice this thing is, and with accessories, and I've done videos on how to make accessories for it as well. Yeah, ha ha ha. you can win one. Let's go back to here and about there. All right, we're going to cut the rest of this. See how I've got that line there and then back this way. I think I'll go this way because it's easy to steer. If you use your fingers down here somewhere, you can use them as a guide, as a pivot. So we'll get stuck into this, but I better put my eye muffs on first because everyone is watching. Okay. See these? We gave a pair of these away the other week. We do lots of that stuff. There we go. Turn it on and everything will start automatically, even the dust extraction. Beautiful. Here we go. I should have done a little relief cut for there before I did that, but only being very, very thin, it's not going to grab a hold very easily, or at all. Do the next part. Just get it started, and then away we go. Here's my leg. And I'll wait for it to stop turning. And we can watch this thing in action, hey? Detention. I love it. I reckon there's a video there in that on its own. I might do that. All right, so there is our leg and it's going to stand up on there. That's going to be the base. Now we've just got to cut this at 90 degrees to this. But before I do that, I'm going to plane it so it's in the right spot. I'll show you how we're going to do that. Spin this around. Down to this one. Yep, I think so. Back just a little. Now down here is the Moxen Vise that I've made for this. So it's a nice little setup. It pulls out on some dogs. It holds onto things that are really, really fine and weird angles very easily. So I'm going to slide it back in a little bit so it's almost there. I want to plane that, so I'm going to put that there like so. Push her in. On the back of this there is grip tape, same as here. So it's being held both sides by the cushion tape that that Festel has for their tracks, for their guide rails, for their track saws. There we go. And let's give it a bit of a plane. A little bit more, just take it a bit deeper. This is one of the turners. This is a turner 5 that I restored, but I had that surgery last year, or it was actually more than a year now. Nearly there. That's looking pretty cool. And this one. What do you think of that? No camera equals no muff. So I don't understand. Pretty sure I would have been around there. Not to worry, I'll check that on the review. So now I've got that perfectly along the back, the template. Now I've got to clean up the inside. So to do that, I'm going to use Arthur's bullnose plane, because I want to get in as close as I can to there. Now a lot of you probably won't know who Arthur is. He's my great-grandfather, and this is his bullnose plane. So my great-grandfather was a carriage builder, and I inherited all of his tools. That's looking pretty good. I'll come back. Nice. Now this is his paring chisel, so I'm going to use this to just get right to the end. Beautiful. That'll do me there. Morning, Paul. And on the other side, I'm going to have to look. No, I'll do it there. I'll do it there. Make sure I'm down into the grip tape. Pull back just a little. Now, Ebony is probably here because she wants me to tell everyone that she's starting her own YouTube channel. Now, you know that her daughter Emerald has one. Well, Ebony's decided that she would like to have a YouTube channel as well, and it's going to be more along what's happening on their trip. Let me go back to this one. More along what's happening with their trip. I think the first one is going to be showing you across the Nullarbor. It's I've already seen it, and I like it a lot. It's from an adult's perspective, and it's nice. It's the family, being a family, traveling across the Nullarbor, and some of the highlights that you'll see. It's going to be interesting. So it's going to be released on Wednesday, I think, Wednesday night. So I might put a link down the bottom as well when Ebony sends me the link. All right, let's see if I can just clean this part up a little bit. That's looking pretty slick. Pretty slick. I need to just go into, I've got to turn my back to you for a second, just while I take this last little bit out. Got it. And down there. I'm happy with that. Ooh, not happy with the end there. I've got to just take a little bit more right at the end. I'll use the number 5. That's good. All right, where am I up to? I've got to knock the angle off the end there up the top. I've already marked this out. You can see just here that line going across at an angle. I'm going to cut that off. I'll do that at the capex. And I'll do it on the right-hand side. Give me a sec. You don't need to see this bit. I'll just knock it off quickly. Move that out of the way. that part has to be 90 degrees perfect to here and here. The reason being, the back over here is going to get dominoed to it. Not to the template, but to the piece of timber. Now, where are we? Half past, halfway through, it's going to be viewers project time. So you need to send me your projects in like everyone else is doing. Did you miss the giveaway? Yep, you're banned because you didn't get here in time. Sun back shining Sydney, lots of clean, right? Hoping that all Aussies are safe. Yes, we are. Cool. I'm here to watch you because you're amazing and I love it. Talk about sucking up. Okay, I love you too, darling. All right. Rattled me now. I don't know where I'm at. So I'll put this back. This is a little felt pouch that this lives in. If you're interested in these old tools, I've got a full 30 series, a series of 30 videos, all on Arthur's Toolbox. It's called What's in Arthur's Toolbox? Watch it. It's when I first started out, so the videoing itself is a bit lame, but I go through it and I pull one of the tools out and I say, all right, what's this for? Because some of the tools I didn't know, you know, like none of us are born with full knowledge. You learn as you go along. That's why you guys are watching now, I guess. So, Viewers Project. Okay. Crowe QLD is into making wooden vehicles, and he does a really nice job. So I noticed these and I thought, oh, this would be really nice to share. I put a link in the description box down the bottom to his Instagram page. You can see all the vehicles that he makes there. Do it. Let's go down. I'll show you this. This one is, he's a bit of a Ford buff. So this is one of his vehicles that he's made. Now that's pretty nice, don't you reckon? Let's go to a little bit more of a view from the front. And then a little bit of a view from the front again, right at the front, the radiator and all that kind of stuff. And then to the back of the vehicle. And then back to the this one. This is my favorite image of it. So there you go. I think that's wonderful. As I say, if you want to have a look at, pardon me, more of his stuff, because he does a lot, follow him on Instagram, and while you're there, follow me on Instagram. I'm a bit cheeky, aren't I? All right, so I've got all that set up nicely. I was going to use the trim router and possibly this and lock it down on top of that and use the straight part as a straight edge for the bearing to follow along and dress that up. But I thought, you know, I'm going to use the hand tools. And I'm glad I did. All right, reading through. So we've done the bandsaw safety device, which looks great. We're going to be using the bandsaw again in a minute. And I've shown you the viewers project. I've told you that next week the show will be starting an hour later due to daylight savings, or daylight saving. And as I say, if you're in the same time zone as me, there won't be any change. But if you're not, and also be aware if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you may or may not be going another hour back. So, you know, we might have had a 2 hour, or nice and close, and then 2 hours apart. Because I've gone back an hour, you'll go forward an hour. So the saying is, spring forward, fall backwards. So that's relating to the different seasons, spring and fall. We don't call it fall in Australia, we call it autumn. Because that's what it is. All right, now the legs. Let's get this started. Now the legs, I have to make sure that I have them around the right way. That's it there. Beautiful. These are going to be great. I'm going to do this again using the blue tape and glue method. Now sleep in. Okay, so that's going to be there, that's there. This is nice. I love this. This is good fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on here first so that I don't get lost. There's a little tip for you guys as well. Let's go to CarlCam. And you can see just here, rather than just, put some tape on here where I think it's got to go, I'm going to put that on there, get my clutch pencil and draw around it. There we go, it's all there. And turn the, don't forget to turn the template over, because you don't want to do this and you go, why didn't it stick? Oh dear. All right, one right down the center there. Like so. And another one down the center there. Don't overlap them. If you overlap it, you're going to get a little bit of thickness doubling up, and you don't want that. Now this is a little bit of repetition about what we did last week, but if you've been following me on social media, you'll see that we had a little bit of water damage in the house with all the rain that we had. We've had over 500 millimetres. Well, actually, I think we went closer to 600 millimetres this month, which is 2 feet of rain. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And the gutters on the roof could not handle that amount of rain. That's the most we've ever had in one downpour. And it backflowed up over the edge and into the room, down the wall, across my workbench area in the house where I have the desk, and then into the carpets. And it started to stink. I didn't think there was too much damage. Put a towel down, tried to soak it up, and it was just got worse and worse. Of course, we had 3 or 4 days solid of that kind of rain. So, insurance claim, and we'll see how that goes. I hate doing that kind of stuff. I hate claiming insurance. I hate paying the policy, but at the same time, I hate claiming. Don't ask me why, it's just me. It's a horrible process to have to go through and justify everything, that reason, and the insurance companies just make you feel bad about things. Does anyone else feel that way about it? Or am I the only bunny that does? There we go, there we go, there we go. And I'm going to push down hard on that until it starts the initial bond, then I'm going to flip her over and then push down on that. Now that, hold it for 30 seconds. I'm not going to use accelerator. Here we go. Talk amongst yourselves. It's probably stuck by now. You noticed last week when I did the pattern, or the week before I think it was, I did the pattern, and I did the pattern kind of rough, and I had a few people, Steve Burford was one of them, saying, Dave, shouldn't you clean that pattern up first before you put it onto the timber? And merrily away I said, no, it's fine. Well, in hindsight, it probably is better. So that's why I'm doing it now. Next thing, we're going to do it on the bandsaw, and this is nearly 3 inches thick, and that little blade is going to go great. Yeah, it's just something funny about insurance companies. Let me have a look here, see if I posted this. Probably not. Give me a second. It's one of those things that I'll post it now. You'll probably get something saying that we're live now. 20 minutes ago. Oh yeah, I can understand. Yeah, I can understand that, Peter. That'd be terrible. All right, let's get this thing sorted. Maybe have that there this time. Well, actually, right around the back might be best. You see how little amount of dust is coming through? It's really so impressive. Crack this and wind her up. Take it off its wheels, make it a little bit more steady. That's all looking good. And change cameras. That'll be fine. Do the double one this time. Wind it up just a little bit more until I'm clear of the bearings under there. That's all good. And lock it. And I've got my thing at the front there saying, careful, Dave. Blade is tensioned. Beautiful. And let's do the cut. I'm just looking at how to do this. I'm going to do a relief cut first. There. And away we go. Eye muffs on. Dusty's on and running. Good. Okay. And coming in slowly. I just need to get, I'll do this one first. Got it. And then this one. Came in a little tight. That's what we got sandpaper for. I mean, come in a little bit hard. Create a nick. I'll bring the camera around this side. What I've done is I've done a little nick there so the blade doesn't slide down the edge. So just there I've done a little nick, and then now it should cut quite easily. Now I've got that face here. I've got this face to get a start. What's it catching on? Nothing. I'm kind of all over the place there. I'm going to stop there and come around. That camera's making it a little awkward. That's the way it goes. Where am I? Actually, I'm going to stop it. Let it stop. Okay, the blade stopped there. And I'm going to do this cut across the end and then come in. I may even do another little nick here. Done. Whoop, got to do the other end. Done. Everything will turn off in a second. See that? What are you using for a blade on the bandsaw? I did mention that at the beginning, Anthony. It's a 3/8 blade. It's the standard blade. It's a 3/8 by 6 TPI. So it means 6 teeth per inch. Too good. Yes. You finally got here on time, Andrew. Excellent. Yeah, when I went to go around the back, ordinarily if I'm doing a rip, and I've got the fence, I'll go around the back and I'll pull it through. But with that, I had to stop and come around the front and go again. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the trimmer, and I'm going to trim around like I did last time. This is where we throw the dust everywhere. And so I'll hold it down onto the bench with a couple of clamps. The bench works so well, don't you reckon? I don't know if this one's going to fit. It might do. Yep. It's going to hold it enough for me. And a battery. I've already set the depth. And I have to move my coffee out of the way because this goes everywhere. And the eye muffs. I'll just move that. How are we doing for time? Nearly there. Nearly there. Make sure that we're going to be good there. Yes. And remember, as I said last time, we go counterclockwise. I need to bring the cutter up ever so slightly. I'm not quite there. That'll do it. That's better. On the end. And again. That's for that part that I haven't got before. I'll take this part off. Cool. So you can see how that's tidying up beautifully here. I'm going to give it another run and then take it to the router table and use another pattern bit. So give me a minute. Put this back in here. About there, I think, for this time. Going to take it down deeper. About there, I think. A bit more. Yep, that's pretty good. Here we go. Now, just to quickly explain, what we're doing there is we're using the timber that we've already done with the pattern follower as the new pattern. That's how you can come down in increments. Is that leg one, or will it get sawed into? This is one leg. So this is the bottom of the leg, and it's going to sit up like that. And then we'll have the top coming up here, or the other way, whichever way it goes. Anyway, it's going to work. I'll finish this part here, and then I think we'll have enough time just to put it in and do the last bit on the router table. With these things, careful you don't stick your finger in here. There's an open spot that lets the dust out. Don't go putting your finger in there. Now I'm also pushing down hard on this plate here, so it doesn't rock around, so it's not going to rock around at all. There we go, that's nice. Both sides. Why a trim router first? Look, what I'll do is I'll answer that question as I'm setting up the next view here. And there, and there, and there, and there. Because, look, I could have done it in the router table with this tiny cutter. I'll take this out. Now I can't hurt myself. I could have done it in the router table with that tiny cutter, turning this upside down and over the top of the table. But I just find that it's nicer with something like that above, so I can see what's going on a little better. But there are different options. A lot of people don't have a router table, and I try and show as many different ways. I'll talk about this for a second. Everyone is going to have different machinery. They're all going to have different capabilities of, so you know, what their budget can allow, and also how in depth they want to get into this bloody rabbit warren hole thing that I'm in, that I got caught in. So this is a nice cheap trimmer. does the job for me. And router tables are a nice thing to have, but not everyone can have them. Not everyone's got the space. Little things like this you can put away in a cupboard and away you go. You could have a little workshop set up in the laundry if you wanted to, and just have the Stanton Bench and a bit of a plug, and also some small tools like this and a couple of hand tools like a hand plane and chisel and that little bullnose chisel, isn't that magic, and a little block plane. Drill, things like that, and you don't have to have a massive big area for it. Now also with that, the giveaway that I'm doing, this is almost identical to the rigid. Yep. So the giveaway that I'm doing, the reason I'm not giving the one that I had that's a second, because I thought that's not nice, give someone a prize and oh, it's only a second. So I'm going to keep the second. I'm going to run it at the CNC over the top and level it, and then I'm going to take it up to the house and put it under my bed. That's the whole thing. You can take it apart and it slides under a bed, because then I don't have to take one from here if I'm working up in the house, doing anything up there at the moment. At the moment I'm doing some repairs after the flood work, but that's the whole thing. All right. No, I haven't spent any, Peter. All right, we'll switch the cameras over here. We've got a couple of minutes. Let's have a look at this part. Now, what I'm going to do here, look here at that camera, tip it up a little. Yeah, it's not too bad. I have in the machine at the moment, I have a spiral up that is it's a flush trim bit that runs off a pattern at the top. Well, I'm not going to be able to run off the pattern at the top because I'm going to bump in here and all that kind of stuff. So I've got to put another cutter in that's going to have the bearing down here at the router. Now I can touch the router because I don't have this thing in the switch at the moment. Can't turn that router on when that's not in. So we're going to undo this. It's got a lock in there, and with routers it normally goes for a second grab. There it is, that's the second point. Take that out, leave that there, and get the other cutter. This is the other one. See, the bearing is at the bottom. Now I don't like taking a whole lot off on this one because it's not a spiral cutter, it's a straight 2-flute. Now when it starts to grab, I pick it up just a touch so it's not all the way home. Then I lock it. On a lot of routers you'll have what's called the K-line, and I talk about this all the time. So you can see there I'm going to take that much off with this cutter. Come up just a touch to there. I'll lock the router at that point. Good. And move these things out of the way, and hopefully that'll get me up enough height so I can turn it over and work the other side. All right, and this one, where's my remote? I thought I had it here this morning. I'll just turn it on by hand, I think. The old-fashioned way, walk over. Except for I can't, because I've got that disabled. All right, I'll just take that off and plug it straight in. There, and around here. I've nearly finished this system. On you go. That's pulling down there a bit, not a lot. I'd better open that other gate. How's it doing now? That's a bit better. Shut that one. And that one. All right. It's a bit of mucking around, wasn't it? That's what I'm trying to get past. That's pulling a whole lot better. Now, I'm going to go this direction because we're cutting into the timber. I will use push blocks. I'll ensure that it can turn. It can. Turn her on. That's pretty nice. It's not a very sharp cutter. You'll notice that I start back from the beginning. I'm going to bring that cutter up just a little bit more without touching it. Going to take this out again. I want to make sure it still turns. There's a pin on this router that will come out and engage if I'm not careful. Start her up again. I think that's going to give me enough now for the cutters to work. It's going to be bloody close. Let's do it. Take that one out. Release this. Bring it all the way up so it locks. Yeah, I should really have another follower that's a little bit taller. This is one of my favourite cutters. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to go very close to cutting all the way through. It's just shy. Let's see what happens. Lock it there. See how we're getting that tiny steric there? I'll sand that off. All done. Okay, so that little lip in the middle, it'll come off. I have a Craig router table. I don't have a Craig lift. I have a Craig insert, I should say. I have my own, I've got a Triton router in it. I had the other. We've got to be careful with this. I had another lift in there before, and I took it out because it was just a little bit too much mucking around with it and the Triton, because the Triton's got its own lift. There we go. So look, that's going to work well. We have the leg is going to sit up like that. The top is going to sit on here. So this stops the table or the chair sitting backwards when you lean against it. So I will go around and take this template off and put it on the other piece of timber here and do all that process I've just done then, and keep on enjoying it. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channels. Yeah, it's a 3 1/4 horse Triton. It's great. I've also just recently got another router, which is I think it's around a 2 horse, 2.5 or 2.75, and it is the old-fashioned style that clamps on. I have another lift for that. I'm going to set another router in that same area so that I can have 2 different cutters. So if I'm using the Gifkins jig, bang, 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 bang. Why not? You only live once. Don't forget to enter the competition if you're in Australia, and we'll see how we're going with doing something international if possible. Don't forget to, if you're one of our patrons, join us in the Zoom meeting directly after this show. How you get there is go to my Patreon page, slide down through a couple of the posts, and you'll see there's a link to Zoom, probably about 4 or 5 posts down. There was a link there this morning to the show, or sorry, to what I was going to be doing on the show today. So you guys get a heads up, and then, you know, sometimes there's some special stuff I do as well. All right, I think that's it. Let me come down here and have a look at this. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other, and I shall see you all next week. Bye.